Hey guys, today I want to talk to you about one of the virtues of leadership that honestly just isn't spoken about very much. I just don't see a lot of people talking about this, and yet I think most of us would agree, once we thought about it, that this might be one of the most critical and important features or qualities of great leaders, and that is the virtue of wisdom. You just don't hear people talking much about wisdom anymore. We hear a lot about knowledge. We are very much a fact-based culture, fact-based society. Everything is about the acquisition of knowledge. You go to university today and everything is about specialties and special focuses on different areas or domains of study. And so much of what we deem as intelligence today is driven by the acquisition of knowledge and facts. The reality is there's another dimension of intelligence that we just don't spend a lot of time talking about or even thinking about developing, and that is the virtue of wisdom. Wisdom is the right application of knowledge, and this is the key word here. It's the right application of knowledge, which ironically, some of you might already see, it requires wisdom to be able to know what the right application of knowledge is. So wisdom is something that as you begin to look at a set of facts, you begin to acquire knowledge about something, and now you've got to make some decisions. It's going to be more than A plus B equals C. Life just is not formulaic that way. Life isn't reduced. It's not reductionistic to basic equations and facts. As much as some people might want to think that life is, it's just not. There's way too much randomness. There's way too much unpredictability in life. And so therefore we need wisdom to help us make certain decisions. So how does a person gain wisdom in life? I think one of the first things as a leader you have to do is you have to spend time in reflection. And if you don't spend time in reflection, if all you're doing is just working, and all you're doing is just acquiring knowledge and information and making decisions based on that, and that's all you're doing, you're not acquiring wisdom because you're not reflecting on looking at the facts, looking at the information, looking at the people maybe that you have to deal with, and then beginning to gain insight. And insight is the ability to see beneath or to see through something, not just the fact in front of you, but really kind of what is the meaning behind the meaning, or what's underneath what it is that you're seeing. So even though wisdom isn't this concrete thing that you're going to go get wisdom, wisdom can still be recognized as the growth of insight in life. And so when you know somebody that you admire because you would say they're a very wise person, what you probably mean by that is that if you went to them and asked them a question and gave them some information to help them understand what your question is, they would take the information that you're asking and they would not go to some formulaic equation. What they would do is they would consider all that you just said, and then they would start looking at human nature, they would start looking at past experiences, they would start looking at maybe even reflecting on other things that they've studied, that they've read, that they've gained insight about life, about human nature, and then they would give you their thoughts. They would give you their counsel or their advice. And to the degree that it is the right application of the knowledge that you've given them, you would say that person gave you some very wise advice. So I want to challenge all of us as leaders, taking the time for reflection. By the way, that means to gain in wisdom, you have to read other wise people. You've got to take the time and be aware of how did great leaders who were wise make great decisions? How did they come to that conclusion? It wasn't just an equation that they plugged the variables in and that was the answer. You want to be able to get into the mind and into the heart and into the insight of these great leaders that we all admire and really begin to understand how did they come to the conclusions and the decisions that they made. That is great leadership. That is when you can trust somebody because you know they see things that most other people don't see, and you can trust the way that they lead. So I hope this kind of inspires you to really think about wisdom as a real core virtue for your leadership, for your life, no matter what domain of life that you're in, because it's the thing that's going to truly allow us to make the best decisions, the right decisions, as we continue to journey through life, both professionally and personally.